Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for attending today's APS Forensic MDT meeting. As a reminder for the meeting, the purpose is just to review collateral cases to determine whether the client is known to other agencies, as well as collaborate as much as possible on behalf of the clients. Today, we have scheduled a review of the case of Mr. Tom Jones, who is a 75-year-old widowed male and who was the victim of physical abuse. The staff assigned to the case had a family emergency, so I'm going to be filling in today. I'm going to start off. APS wasn't able to investigate the case, so I don't have a lot of details other than what's already in the report. And as we move forward, I'm just going to go ahead and read on the details that we do have. So beginning off, Mr. Jones lives in his own home. Mr. Jones lives with his 2 adult nephews who provide care.
Some care.
At the time of the report, Mr. Jones was admitted to the county hospital due to injuries including bruising and various cuts on his arms and legs that were bleeding. APS accepted the case as a 10-day response. The case was pending assignment.
Well, I know this case because I was the reporting party to APS. I don't understand why this case wasn't assigned, so I guess I'll go next.
As a reminder, we'll discuss the responses to the case at the end of all of the presentations from all parties.
Well, my report out is that I received a call to respond to the home for domestic disturbance. I found the victim, Mr. Jones, lying on the floor. He was not moving and had bruises and injuries to his arms. So I called the EMT to transport them to the hospital. When I interviewed the nephews, they said that Mr. Jones falls a lot. I questioned the care that they provide them, and they say they provide basic care and that he can do a lot of stuff for himself.
I was working in the ER when Mr. Jones arrived by ambulance. His condition appeared poor. He was extremely thin and had multiple bruises. He was admitted to the hospital, and over the next 3 days, he was in various states of consciousness. Mr. Jones passed away on the 4th day as a result of internal injuries and hemorrhaging.
The day after I responded to the home, I called APS again to ask if they would do a joint visit with me so that we could interview Mr. Jones. I was told there was no social worker assigned. So I went to the hospital to talk to Mr. Jones, but I couldn't get a lot of information before he passed away.
Since Mr. Jones's unfortunate passing, our office has been working with Dennis on the investigation. We're still considering filing charges, but because of the lack of information, we may have to decline to prosecute. It would have been helpful if APS had investigated, because that information and history could make a stronger case for prosecution.
Well, the APS intake team determined that because Mr. Jones was in a safe place, he didn't meet criteria for an IR.
But the statute says APS must respond within 24 hours, and this warranted an immediate response. And I
understand APS regulations, Carla. I don't need you to explain them to me. Our office didn't respond appropriately, so I'm trying to explain this to the members of this meeting, if you all would just let me.
You know as well as I do, Oscar, this isn't the first time your office hasn't responded appropriately, if we're being honest here.
Stop. That's not okay, Dennis. It's not helpful. You know what, team? I'm feeling a little bit called out here and a sense that everyone's upset. I'd like to ask that we take a 5-minute break to regroup.
Sure.
Yeah.
The conversation got pretty tense in there. Are you okay?
Hey, Carla. Yeah, I'm okay.
This case had a tragic outcome, and we all have to come to terms with it. But the purpose of this meeting is to identify opportunities for our agencies to work together in collaboration. It is not a meeting intended to point fingers and blame others.
I know, and I do value this team. I was just getting so frustrated because I felt like it turned into the blame game and not a collaborative discussion. I knew going into this meeting that I would feel defensive of my team and myself, and I thought I had prepared for it better mentally. It's just so hard sometimes, but I appreciate you checking in on me.
Oh, I know what you mean. I sometimes use the 4-7-8 breathing exercises to bring my stress levels down.
I was just doing that right before you walked in. And truth be told, that's why I called for a break, because I knew I needed a minute to calm down and to reflect on why I was feeling so defensive. I also wanted to bring others' attention to why we were feeling that way also.
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes I just handle things better than other times. It has to do with all that goes on in our jobs and our personal lives. You know, trying to have it all.
Definitely. Thanks so much. It helps to know I'm not alone in that. But honestly, these cases are so hard to discuss because we weren't able to intervene earlier, and that's super upsetting. The county just keeps cutting our budget and staffing, and it's always in the back of my mind. I feel like we're going to have some more of these types of situations, and it can feel so overwhelming.
It's like that in the DA's office and in the law enforcement jurisdictions.
Well, maybe we need to start having some meetings, not just with a reminder of the intent, but some sort of way to reflect on how we're feeling and if there's anything we can do to minimize those additional stress factors. I'm realizing I took some of the comments in the meeting way too personally, rather than systemic issues.
You can certainly suggest that and see if the team would be open to it. In reality, for the type of jobs we have, we are always going to have to successfully communicate with others, and hopefully do so without letting frustration or other feelings take over. You already do this very well in many of the meetings I've had with you and your team at APS.
Thanks, Carla. I appreciate that. And I do really respect you and everyone on the team as well. Okay, everyone, let's get back to the meeting. Thank you all for going with the flow when I just needed a break. To be honest, I was feeling frustrated and took things way too personally. I apologize for getting defensive and directing all of that towards you all, especially you, Carla and Dennis.
Hey, you know what? I think I needed the break too. I was getting a little heated, and I could have worded things a little bit better and not interrupted you.
I appreciate that, Dennis. I was thinking I'd like to learn more about your experiences with APS so that I can better understand things from your point of view. Would you be open to meeting later to discuss our roles and programs? I could come to your office, maybe get a behind-the-scenes tour.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be open to that. I'll reach out to my team to introduce you to some people to build our collaboration.
Sounds great. I'll email you later. Okay, back to our case review. Now that we've heard from all parties in Mr. Jones' case, what are some lessons to be learned and some action steps? I'm going to put my assumptions aside, and I welcome input from all parties, not just APS.
Well, I don't know about APS or other agencies here, but in law enforcement, we are bound by statute. We can only do what we can do. I don't know what our office could have done differently.
I agree. I have to go by our general orders and penal code. I don't know how we could have done things differently.
It's the same in the medical community. I have a certain role and tasks too, and sadly, people die every day. But I would have hoped that there was a better system so people didn't have to suffer like Mr. Jones.
Okay, so we all recognize there are some limitations to each of our roles in our respective agencies. But how can we find some ways to make things better? What if we did some brainstorming about this case? We could develop a wish list maybe of how we want our systems to work together, maybe what it would look like in a perfect world.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're all slammed. I don't think we can do this right now.
Thanks for your honesty, Dr. Wen. I appreciate that. I'm only suggesting this because I think we could look at the big picture and see what action steps we could take or strategies the group could identify to get us out of this feeling of being stuck. I mean, I'm assuming all of us want this group to be as effective as possible, right?
Yeah.
So how do we get there?
Well, if our MDT allowed the sharing of some information, then we could provide a history to Dennis about previous incidents with Mr. Jones being in the hospital.
Absolutely. APS is actually permitted to share information and MDTs per our statutes and MOUs. Like this meeting, I could share all of that information. So, is there a way we could use that to facilitate better communication?
I like this idea about communicating more, but I can tell you the county council attorneys are not going to be okay with emails flying around with confidential information in them, even if they are encrypted.
Thanks for bringing that up, Carla. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. What if we made an alert type system so we could respond to these situations earlier? Like when Dennis made the report to APS, if there were a way to escalate the report that there is a contact person right away to meet with, the idea being that each MDT agency partner could have a primary contact.
Yeah, that would be great. I couldn't be the contact, but the hospital social services department could. I could meet with the director and tell them all about this once we get it figured out. Then APS could call them, or vice versa, and see if there's a history.
That would be awesome if I had a point person in APS. I never know who I'm talking to when I make my reports, and I don't know where they end up when I make those reports.
Okay. So I'm hearing two things. One is a communication loop in real time for emergency cases, and the other being some additional coordination outside of this meeting on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, I like this. I can see the vision now. So whomever has an emergency case can send out an email with a subject heading like rapid response needed to the MDT group, making sure there's no PII or any other type of confidential information, and request a virtual meeting ASAP. That way we can discuss things verbally and in real time.
That's great. So I guess we'll all have to have contact backups if we're not available. I could ask my sergeant if they could be my backup and then communicate with me or another detective if I'm out.
Okay. I think we have a new way of communication that we're willing to try out. Let's do this for 6 months and see what happens. So just to sum everything up, we have the rapid response email with a potential virtual meeting that would all be scrambled together. I like to acknowledge that this is a new communication method for our MDT team and will likely need some time for adjustments. Does it sound good to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to try anything that can support earlier identification so we can intervene and prevent situations like Mr. Jones' experience.
We can learn a lot from this case.
Absolutely.
APS, MDT1, take 28.